we have made some fantastic progress here at the patio. Stay tuned and I'll tell you all about it. Hello friends, welcome to Gardening with Creekside. I am Jenny, and guess what I'm sitting on? I am sitting on our fire pit. Yes, we got it installed yesterday along with some other things, so we wanted to give you a quick little update on this patio situation. I know we did a video not too long ago, in fact just a couple of days ago, but this is what happens when Jerry and I get some free time, is that we get out here and we get some major work done. So I am sitting on our fire pit, obviously. It is a fantastic one. All of our products that we are using are from Belgard. And this is the Weston fire pit. It was probably so far the easiest part of this whole project because it was a kit. And it literally, you just put the pieces together and we glued them as we went up. Super simple. Our best buddy Josh happened to come by. He is a fellow landscaper. He does a lot of stonework and all different sorts of things. So he has put these fire pits together before. So he is always so helpful and said, well, if y'all will have some free time, we'll go ahead and put this, bad boy together. So of course we took him up on it, and it just went up really, really easy. Now, for some of you who maybe have more experience in stonework and you're looking at it and you're like, well, Jenny, did you do any edging on it or anything? Let me go through the process just a little bit and explain how we built the fire pit. So yes, the bottom piece, don't know if you can hear that, but yes, this is a Sunday afternoon in North Carolina where our folks like to do a little bit of target practice. So please excuse the gunshots that you might hear. Welcome to the South. So the bottom layer is just laying, it's just what I guess we call a dry stack onto the gravel. It is perfectly level all the way around. Use some fines to make sure, just that really small little, almost like a sand-like material to fill in any little gaps to make it level. So that first course is the absolute most important because you've got to make sure that that is level. Then everything else will just go right on top of that. So that was down, and then on the next course we glued it. So we glued those pieces and they just kept coming up on each level. We just would add a level and glue it, add a level and glue it. This bottom course will be secure once we lay down the patio pavers, because those patio pavers we will cut and have them butt up straight against this bottom layer of the fire pit. So the patio pavers are what's going to hold the whole thing in, so we do not have to worry about anybody shifting on the bottom layer. Everything else is nice and glued in, and trust me, it is going nowhere. Now, of course, we got the fire pit that has the grate on it. So you can take this on and off. So if you just want to do, a great campfire and roast marshmallows, this grill part will come right off. However, if you want to use it to grill some burgers or steaks or some pizza, you can put it back on there and cook over the fire. So we are super excited about many, many campfires in our future. And one of you fantastic viewers gave us a great idea and said, take the concept of the front porch chats, combine it with the back patio, and we could have fireside chats. So I love that idea. So look for some fireside chats coming soon. Now, the plants have been planted into the flower beds, so let's go take a look at that. Look at these gorgeous steps. Jerry got them all in, all the risers in. Now, of course, obviously they're not finished yet, but They step beautifully. They are all perfectly even as far as each step is the same width, the same height. He did an amazing job on that. We did end up going with not 4 steps, but 5 steps. Our math was off and we got to the end and we were like, yeah, no, 4 is not gonna work. So we had a couple of options and he just decided that it was best in the long run just to go ahead and pull out a couple of those risers and fix it, because he knew exactly how to fix it. And now we have 5 beautiful steps. Jerry is much more, a lot of times, a more perfectionist than I am. And in projects like this, when he has a plan, you just leave him alone and let the man work, and he does beautiful things. So he did an amazing job with those. The next step on that is we are waiting for the underlights, the lights to go under the steps to come in, and then once those come in, then we can go ahead and finish out with all of the final toppings on the coping and all of that good stuff on those steps. So for now, the steps are complete and they are functional. Love them. All right, now the beds have been planted, and in our last patio update I told you that I really felt like this bed, when I had planned it out, was how I wanted it to be, and it is. It went the exact way that I had in that last video. We have 3 Sprinter Boxwoods from Proven Winners. They are fantastic. They are in front of each of the columns. Sprinter Boxwoods are a great option for foundation plantings. They are evergreens. I love boxwoods. I think they're just fantastic. These will get to be 2 to 4 feet tall and wide, and of course, being a boxwood, you can easily trim them. So I can keep them the size that I want. So those are in there. And then space between each of the Sprinter Boxwoods is the magnificent October Magic White Shishi Camellia from Southern Living Plants. This is a brand new one. It will be on the market come spring of 2021. They are already massively popular because I know that we have talked about them on videos a couple of times. I know some other gardening channels on YouTube have talked about them before, and people are just chomping at the bit to get these for all the fantastic reasons. They are a pure white bloom, positively exquisite, and what's great about them, the reason I can put a camellia in this bed is because it is a petite camellia. It is going to be short and wide, and it will fill up this whole space just beautifully. Now, this is a Sasanqua camellia, so that means that it will bloom starting in really kind of end of September, October, all the way through Christmas. Now, when we do get some cold nights, we get some freezes, it will burn the blooms, the older blooms that are out there, but the buds, it still keeps the buds. So you kind of go through this period of, you have these gorgeous, gorgeous blooms, then they'll get zapped, and then you have a whole nother flush of gorgeous blooms. I mean, they're still blooming right now, and they have tons of buds on them. So I'm loving this. This will give me, this whole bed will be evergreen, and then I can plant my annuals in here to give me all that great summer color. Of course, we talked about it. Another thing, on each of the sides of this first step are gardenias. These are brand new gardenias from Southern Living. This is Diamond Spire, and these are going to be columnar gardenias, not really the fat and wide ones. They are going to be about 3 to 4 feet tall and only 2 feet wide. Just are going to be fantastic, and I love that they flank the entrance to the steps. So those are going to do great. Also, as a little side note here, because we are a Zone 7B, and even though gardenias are my absolute favorite flower of all time, we do sometimes have a hard time growing them. I don't know if it's because our house is so exposed and we don't have a lot of shelter, but in the past when we've grown gardenias and we have really exceptionally cold winters, they just get really, really burnt. I feel very secure about planting them in this spot because good night, this is the hottest spot probably in all of our property. This is kind of a southwest facing corner of the house, and because you have I guess, the back of the garage, and the sun just absolutely hits this spot, and it is hot. So even in that right now, in the late afternoon when the sun's gone, you can come up to this corner and the heat is just radiating off of the stone, the brickwork, the side of the house. So I know that these gardenias here will do really, really well. Now, moving into this bed, you might go, Jenny, gosh, it's a little empty right now. Well, it is, but that's all right. You just use your imagination. So again, of course, that Diamond Spire, Gardenia. Then I have 2 more of the Sprinter Boxwoods. If you remember from that last video, we kind of went back and forth. Do we put the Bride Camellia? Do we put the other gardenias here? And after some decision and talking, we decided no. So those are going to go elsewhere in the landscape right here at the patio, but not in these beds. The 2 of the Sprinter Boxwoods, and then I have put in 3 empty nursery pots. That is where my David Austin roses are going to go. I have been looking at these David Austin roses, gosh, almost for a year now, and trying to decide, you know, do I want to do roses? Yes, I do. And then which ones do I want to do? So I think I have decided on some varieties that I want, but David Austin roses, for those of you who are not familiar, they are just a fantastic, they are breeders of English roses, both climbing roses, shrub roses, just all sorts of kinds. Just look up David Austin roses and have fun, because they are gorgeous. The ones that I have chosen will be about in that 3 to 4 foot tall and wide range, so they will go in here. I will not plant them until probably January, February as bare roots. So by putting in those pots, this is exactly where I know that they are going to go, and they are there and they are secure. So all I have to do is pull the pot out of the ground, plant them, and then bring the mulch back up. Obviously, we have already gone and put down the hardwood mulch in this bed, and we already have the irrigation in place. I've told you before, we're big fans of the drip irrigation. Jerry has that all set up. It is super simple. It is a 1-inch black pipe running through both beds. When we built the steps, we made sure that we had a conduit so that it's all on one system. They're all connected. Then he simply laid that black pipe near the base of each of those shrubs, used some landscape staples just to hold it down, and then put little emitters, punched little holes for the emitters to go at the base of each of these shrubs. That way we're very intentional with where the water goes and how much water is put down in the beds. Now, emitters can come in different flow rates. This is going to be a gallon per hour. That's what these emitters are. It will depend on the season. Right now the system is off. We don't need to run it. It is winter. Our winters in North Carolina are traditionally pretty wet. In fact, it's going to rain tonight, like all day tomorrow. So there's no need to have that irrigation running now. Come springtime, we will get it running, and then we'll figure out, you know, exactly how much they need. When we plant annuals, we can easily tap in to that irrigation pipe and just run a little irrigation line to the base of each of those annuals, and then they will get water also. Now, there is one little corner of this bed that we have not shown you yet that I want to take you to now. This is the little corner right off, well, you can tell where we are. This is an existing bed that we have. The redbud tree is just right off here to my left, but we wanted to kind of extend this bed out because this gravel path that you see that I am standing on, this will be part of that future project where we are going to have a stone path leading from the patio around this bed up to our driveway so that we can easily access it from the garage and our driveway area. So this bed got brought out a little bit. Now, I have right here, this is a little quick fire hydrangea, and I have had this in this vicinity for a couple of years now. She was only about 4 feet over and was in the shadow of that redbud tree, but clearly she just did not get enough sun where she was. She was full of foliage. She was gorgeous, but this year I only got one little tiny bloom off of her. And that is a sure sign for a sun-loving hydrangea. If you don't get any kind of blooms, that they're probably not getting enough sun. Little quickfires also bloom on new growth, so that's not a problem. It's not an issue of did I prune it at the wrong time or anything like that. She just simply did not get enough sun to produce her blooms. So I took her and literally moved her about 4 feet over into this area so she will get lots of that afternoon sun right here. She was quite interesting to get out of the ground though, because I think some of her roots were intertwined with the roots of the redbud. So I had to work to get her out, but she is out. I did go ahead and prune her back because she blooms on new growth, so this was a good time to go ahead and cut her back. I went ahead and did that because I obviously cut up some of her roots to move her, and if the less of the plant there is to support, the less stress on the plant. So I said, you know what, let's just go ahead and prune her now so that she doesn't have as much stress on her. She can get those roots growing again. Of course, I used Biotone in that hole when I planted her, so I know that she will do great. On each side of Little Quickfire, I have Yin and Yang Viburnum. Now you may be saying, Jenny, what in the world is Yin and Yang Viburnum? Well, I'm so glad you asked. They are brand new introductions from Proven Winners. They are viburnums, and they are a fantastic introduction because they are a cross of a David viburnum and a Chinese viburnum. David viburnums are evergreen and gorgeous, but they are very cold tolerant. Chinese viburnums are more heat tolerant. So Dr. Tom Rennie at NC State decided to breed the two together, and he came up with Yin and Yang viburnums. Now, they look the exact same. And in fact, I don't even know which one's yin and which one's yang, but one's the male, one's the female. So when you plant them together, you're going to have beautiful blueberries in the fall. In the spring, they do beautiful, sweet little white blooms. They're going to get to be about 2 feet tall and about 4 feet wide. They are most definitely for the southern climates because they are not as cold tolerant. They are more heat tolerant. But they have just this beautiful, nice, dark, almost a leathery type of a thick leaf on it. They have beautiful red stalks, just an absolutely gorgeous. Like, I've never even seen them bloom or have berries, but just the foliage alone, they are gorgeous. Again, they are evergreen, they are deer resistant and rabbit resistant. So that is fantastic, and they can do sun or shade. Now, of course, we have talked about before, here on the corner, we have what I affectionately refer to her as the Rose of Christine. This is Proven Winners White Chiffon Rose of Sharon, but my best gal pal, Christine, gave it to me, so hence it is Rose of Christine. She will get nice and tall, 8 to 10 feet tall, about 4 feet wide, so she will fill in this area and just give a nice anchor to this spot. Our next project here at the patio will be behind the fire pit. We are going to build a curved seating wall around the back side of this fire pit. That way people can come and have a place to sit. Of course, Jerry and I will have our nice comfy chairs on the other side, but we got to have a place for the kiddos and their friends and all the other people to come and sit. So we will have that curved wall. We'll go behind the fire pit, and of course we will finish up these steps once we get all of the equipment and everything in place. I hope you have enjoyed this update here at the patio. As always, thank you for gardening with Creekside. We'll see you in the next video, friends. Bye.